Good evening, everyone. Hi. Welcome to the Abington Planning Board June 7th meeting here at Abington Town Hall. And I'm Chairman Bruce Hughes, and we're going to call this meeting to order. So has everyone had a chance to look at the meeting minutes?
Yep.
From June 2nd? Okay. Any comments, corrections?
None.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second, please.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. We don't have any correspondence. Everybody get a chance to look at the Zoning Board of Appeals agenda? Anything of interest there?
Nope.
Okay,
Nope.
okay. All right. Excuse me. And we don't have any Form A applications, so, all right. So the next things are this review the draft open space and recreation plan and vote to adopt and vote to sign a letter of endorsement. So I guess Rhiannon from Old Colony Planning Council was supposed to be here. Kevin, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I have a message from Rhiannon. So I emailed it to you guys as well, but I'm unable to attend the planning board meeting tonight. I'm sorry, I didn't realize when we talked the other week, it overlapped with my vacation days. If the planning board is comfortable with the plan, I do not need to be there for them to sign it. If there are any concerns, I will be able to attend the next meeting. If anyone wants to reach out to me directly, her email is rduggan, D-U-G-A-N, @ocpcrpa.org.
Okay. Since I worked there for a long time, just filling her correct name. Okay, how do we want to review this? Have you guys, we've had plenty of time to review this document. Do we want to look at it section by section? You know, just any comment? I know I saw some sentences that weren't filled in, and it seemed like there was a lot of repetition in this, you know. But I suppose, you know, there's a cookbook for doing this, the state regulations and stuff like that, so she had to write it like that. What's your pleasure? Do you want to go through this section by section?
Sure.
Okay. So we've got the executive summary here, which is, you know, pretty straightforward. Introduction. Again, that's definitions and updates and the planning process and public participation. The meetings with the supporting committees. 488 survey responses were received. After filtering, the final sample size analysis consisted of 465 individuals who indicated they decided worked on property or operated a business in Abington. And then get into the demographics of the survey responses. The interest. Public meetings. I see a lot of familiar faces at this public meeting. I see Liz, me, Ron, and Pam Howe. Community setting.
A couple of questions off that.
Yes, sir.
We did a report recently.
That insisted Abington was part of the Boston watershed. And I protested it then. I said, that's not true. And here, we can say that it's, nope, we're subcoastal and we're a ton. So there's some misalignment somewhere. I can't remember which report said that we contribute to the Boston watershed.
I know it's a minor detail, but it's,
Yeah.
But this is accurate, right?
This, I think, is accurate.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Every stream in Abington goes either out North-South River or Tom River, basically.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I forget which study it was, but there was one of them that said, oh no, there's a little
part of North Abington.
that goes up towards Charles River, Boston Harbor. And I knew that wasn't true.
So Kevin, you making notes on this? Pass on to Rhiannon?
Yep.
That would be good. It was good to find out where the Shumatuska River eventually goes. So that's good. Watersheds, regional resources. Any comments on Ames Knoll State Park? I know people have a lot of interest in that. Beaver Brook Reservation. Porhecky Farm, it's too bad we weren't able to buy that.
So there is no pedestrian bridge from Lake Street to Ames Knoll. Last sentence of the paragraph.
Oh, yeah.
Which one?
Ames Knoll?
Oh, Amstel.
And supposedly nobody swims in it, but I guess some people might swim in it. And the Beaver Brook Reservation, which is great. Bay Circuit Trail.
Porhecky Farm.
Yeah, you got something on that, Rick?
There has been votes by town meeting since 1999. There was one maybe, I don't know, at this point, 8, 9, 10 years ago that basically appropriated money to, or either it was basically setting the stage to take the land and turn it over to the state. I don't remember if it was prior approval to give it to the state or whatever it was, but there was a town meeting article. I'm pretty sure we voted in the new high school, but maybe I'm wrong about that. So I just don't feel like it's quite accurate. I also very much don't understand why we can't take the property. I mean, I understand we can't get in touch with the family, but that doesn't seem to be a reason to stop the process in the past. So I just think it can be a little bit more clear that we're still actively pursuing it. I think there's an active court case to take it. So,
Yeah, that's a good correction, addition.
You're talking about there used to be fields out back against the park. There's an old Revolutionary War grave out there too,
yep,
underneath the cedar tree, if it's still there. Would imagine
it's still
it
there.
is.
At least up to a couple years ago it was.
Imagine the fields have grown pretty well grown in by now.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I hope it gets straightened out, and I hope it does get acquired by either the town or the state. That's an important resource.
I'd never heard of Bay Circuit Trail. Is there any part of it that's in Abington?
Well, no, it says well south of Abington, so it doesn't say it's in the town.
Okay.
It's like central to, I guess she's saying it's vital to the region.
Okay.
I thought, does the Bay Circuit Trail run up like North Quincy Street? Does that sound familiar to you guys?
Are you talking about that bike path?
Yeah, I wonder.
That route, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's what it refers to.
Yeah, well, it's worth checking. But I think it might be running up North Quincy Street. Transit concerns, Rockland Flux Line, Dial-A-Bat, Senior Center. Yeah, it's good that they include the fact that the intersection of Randolph Street and Richard A. Fitz Drive at Chestnut Street and Old Randolph Street, it beats the warrants for signalization. It is the most dangerous intersection in town. I live near there, and it seems like the police are always going up that way. 75% of the design is currently completed. It's on the OCPC transit tip list, and then on the tip for 28 intersection improvements at 18 and 123. Of course, the rotary at Chestnut Street and Hancock Street. So,
Does only state roads qualify for the tip?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So. Well, no, that's not right. No, you're getting a kid, because Chestnut Street and Hancock Street are state roads.
That's a good point, yeah.
That's right, so they're not, so you don't have to be a state road to be in a tip.
I'm just curious, one, about the intersection of Adams and Washington at some point, but also 58 and Birch and Brighton.
Well, you know, John Stone is now the head of the, he just got elected the head of the Old Colony Planning Council, Joint Transportation Committee.
Interesting.
So since he's the DPW head, I'm sure this, you know, these things will, you know, get attention by Old Colony Planning Council. TIP is the Transportation Improvement Program. That's what that acronym means.
One question I guess I've got, and this would seem to pertain to this, but other parts of this report. How does this relate to open space and recreation?
Safe walking.
Walking, bicycles,
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
There's nothing in here about bicycle lanes, but it's, well, you know, like there's a piece here about putting a sidewalk on Summer Street from the intersection to down to the train station. And you know, with anyone's been by there lately, I was talking about this earlier, that big apartment complex next to the train station is really continuing on, and it would be good to have sidewalk. Right now, people walk down to the train station who live there have to walk on the street and stuff like that.
Well, that's my note for that section, is I think it'd be great to have a line in there that indicates this is the town's MBTA communities zoning district, and that we have multiple large multifamily housing developments in this area as well. Just for the record.
Yeah, that's good. Pedestrian safety, you say, shared use paths in towns. We got Old Colony, town applied and it was accepted into the fiscal year '25 Safe Streets program. Additionally applied for a grant through the Mass Housing Works project to construct a sidewalk on Summer Street from Progress Street to Walnut Street. And talk about climate change. I know when I worked at Old Colony, we did a lot of climate change stuff, and they're continuing to do that in 2025 in this report. Talk about the Abington FEMA flood risk and precipitation change. History of the community, population characteristics. It's amazing how the population has increased from 14,605 in 2000 and to 17,062 in the 2020 census.
What's interesting is the school population has declined over those same years.
And apparently, in the future, the population will have a slow decline over the next 5 years. And we'll set a trend in population reduction for the next 20 years.
Yeah, I made a note about that. Well, one, the paragraph directly under population projection trends, it's very opaque, just the way it's worded. Like, I can't tell which population's actually contributing to the increase, but I just think that that paragraph could probably use a bit of an editor.
The second to last one on that page.
Yeah. Also, the second paragraph on that page, Abington especially faces a challenge as most of its zoning requires large lots per single-family home. Is that true?
I wouldn't call it a large lot.
I mean, how much of our town is R20? We have a lot of R20.
Yep.
I would just ask them to take another look and see if that's really true.
Yeah, well, the older parts of the town, like where I live, are R20. But, you know, you go out to Hancock Street and that part of town and all that, that's all large lot zoning.
That's largely R40.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so west of, I mean, west of 18 really is a lot of R40, but a lot of the other town is R20, so I don't want to nitpick, but I mean,
No, it's
I
worth,
don't know if most of the zoning,
it's worth checking.
worth just check into it.
You know, as I was reading this, you know, again, I was a planner and a professional planner, and, you know, planners always like small lot zoning and stuff like that. It's not increases density, it's just,
Yeah.
you know,
Rick, what was your question?
I just want them to take another look to make sure that whether most of our zoning requires large lots per single-family home versus a significant portion.
yeah. I personally, I agree, I like significant portion rather than most.
I don't feel like that represents what we've done as a town in terms of planning and making difficult zoning decisions that we hear about in terms of like transit-oriented development and R20 zones and.
Yeah, and the MBTA zoning and stuff like that, too. Okay. Median family income, it's significantly higher than the state average. The median family income in 2022 was $120,535. As family income is all earners in the family, significantly higher than the state average and slightly higher than the OCPC average, so.
They need in that first paragraph, they need a dollar sign before 125.35.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And growth and development patterns, primary land use is housing.
Second paragraph down is a reuse of an old paragraph. Because it says the recently approved 180 unit, the Point at Abington. I would also argue that Chestnut Glen Apartments is not a current large housing project under development.
No, it's been around for quite a while. And we are updating the 2019 Housing Production Plan. That's something the OCPC is doing.
Yeah, that's still being worked on.
Still-
Jason's still doing the community engagement for that.
Has everyone at this table filled out the survey? Hope so. Hope so. Is there anything in here about the Point at Abington? 180, is that the one on North Quincy Street?
Sorry, which page are we on?
This is
20.
20, yeah.
Yeah.
I suspect they got it confused with the one that's off Plymouth Street. But if we're also going to get credit for the Point at Abington, what's the one next to the Point between that and Lowe's?
Oh,
Bedford Woods.
Is that what it's called? Yeah. Might as well include Bedford Woods and the place next to you, Bruce, on 139. That's 77 units.
I wish she was here to hear.
all right. I'm gonna have her, I think it might just be better for her to come, talk, instead of, I mean, it would,
Right?
It might just be better for her to come and speak in front of you guys. You don't meet in August, so you'll be on the agenda. She'll be on the agenda for September.
Does that push back their timeline dramatically?
What?
How does that impact their timeline for approval?
Yeah. Because we've got the letter here,
Oh,
letter of
geez.
support, you know.
Okay.
I really can't sign this letter until
Yeah, I
we
know.
really get this thing really examined.
Okay.
It appears that there are a lot of points, you know, Rick has made points, I made, other people made points. There's a lot of things that probably need to be corrected or updated or,
Yeah.
so is
I
that,
just assumed that it was fine because of the selectmen already approved it.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. Well,
Okay.
The selectmen read this and we're okay with it? Okay,
I gave it to them
okay,
and that was it. That was all I was told to do,
okay.
yeah.
so.
Well, it's not to say, you know, bad things about the Board of Selectmen, but this is really our job as the planning board to look at
Yeah.
this stuff. So, is it the pleasure of the board that, you know, we can make some more comments on this if you like, but it would be the pleasure of the board to continue this to our September meeting and have a representative from OCPC attend the meeting?
I think Kevin's recommendation makes sense.
Okay. Someone want to make a motion on this?
Make it.
So Bob has made the motion, Bob Soper's made,
Second.
and Rick has seconded. Okay, so the motion has been made and seconded to continue this discussion to the September meeting, because we don't meet in August, and a representative from Old Colony Planning Council will be here to hear these comments and questions, and then we can vote to accept this document. So, all in favor? Aye. Good.
I'll just return back to what she said. If you need to reach out to her directly with any questions specific to what your concerns are, I can give you her email for you to write down now.
I think that you already sent that, Kevin.
Gee, I already did. All right, cool.
So in terms of timeline, to your point, Bruce, I think if we have the representative come in to the September meeting, and then essentially that becomes a working session,
Yes.
where we kind of go through a lot of this, then whatever revisions are recommended at that time have to be made and resubmitted. Now we're into October.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in terms of expediting the discussion, I would think that for any kinds of recommendations that, or observations that board members may have, if we can get them to Kevin in anticipation of September,
Yep, we can do that.
so that we can get them over to her, so that when she
Yeah.
comes in on September, she, yeah, I made that change, yeah, I made that change, yeah, I made that change, and we can, to your point, move towards approving that night.
Yeah. Because we don't want to have this thing go into October, I don't think.
Right.
So,
Yep. And, okay. And then Liz will be back on Thursday, and I'll regroup with her about this whole thing, and we'll talk, and we're probably just gonna stick with that September meeting, but if she's more in touch with the open space part of the planning, world here, with Rhiannon. So if she feels and Rhiannon feel that there needs to be approval on this from the planning board, like soon, unfortunately, we might have to have a meeting, like a snap meeting, a quick meeting.
yeah, I mean, the rest of this, you know, I'm looking at this thing, and
Yeah.
grant programs, the 10-year action plan, all the inventories, summary of the community's outdoor recreation needs. A lot of work has gone into this.
Yeah, she's
Inventory
been
too.
doing a lot
Yeah.
with it, but yeah, I understand that it's not perfect.
I know that you and Liz and Rhiannon have been working on this.
It's been more Liz and Rhiannon's project. I've been working on other things. Liz is not present here, so I'm Liz tonight. We'd be in the same situation if Liz weren't, if we're here tonight.
Yeah, that's
So,
true. All right, guys, well, we have our marching orders. We need to, go through this and mark up our comments and then get them to Kevin and Liz as soon as we can. And so that we can get them to Rhiannon at Old Colony and, move this along. And would, if we had to have an August meeting to discuss this,
it would be brief, would be brief if you sent your comments. Would be brief, and it would just be what it says, discussion action, just review and vote to adopt and vote to sign that letter that Bruce has.
because I want to move this along. I know this really has to be looked at, but come September, we could be back into, having projects come before the board
I know.
and stuff like that. And this is a very important document, but,
And I just don't know the deadlines
Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
open space and recreation plan. I'm not in tune with that, so
Yeah.
I have to email Rhiannon tomorrow.
Well, the questions that we've done, that's the point of this. It's too bad, again, it's too bad that she's not here, because this is an important discussion, and we want to make sure
I know.
we get this right.
I know, I should have had somebody here tonight, either her or even Jason. Jason's not his specialty, but he's still somebody from OCPC.
Couldn't get Mary Waldron to come? No. The executive director?
Who's worked on it, so,
Yeah.
all right.
So.
And then, I guess I have like a few updates on what's gone on since Liz has been gone since past meeting. Liz typically does her like update town planner thing. So right now we're beginning our seed project implementation for MVP 2.0. We have our check-in with our consultants in July 22nd. And that's basically the gardening project that we had mentioned in the past.
You just want to explain the acronyms, please. MVP.
Municipal vulnerability and preparedness with the state. So we have money to, it's called like Grow Green. The project is called Grow Greener. It's basically for community gardens.
Is that at Griffin's Dairy or?
In conjunction with Griffin did.
Mhm.
The Griffin's Dairy folks are helping us with it. And that's a huge pro to it. And then another thing that happened was 1015 Plymouth Street came again, a second time, with some more updates from his co-developers.
I'm sorry, which address?
1015 Plymouth. He wants to build a development in the MBTA district.
This isn't the 40B that was already talked about?
Oh, it's the same one.
Okay.
But he wants to build it like by right.
Okay. All
This
right.
this isn't the
Gotcha.
Glen LaPointe property.
Yeah, this is
Yes.
on the point.
Property, okay.
Yep.
And the access road is off of Plymouth Street.
The access road is off Plymouth Street, yes. Yeah, so we just let him know that 3 stories are allowed. 4 or 5, he would need a variance. He's looking to get 185, between 140 and 185 units in order for it to be feasible.
Feasible.
Like,
And how many
With
would
the
be
construction
involved?
costs and with labor costs. He said if he were to do 3 stories, it would just be, would amount to like 115 units. And that's just not feasible for their company, given construction costs, given labor costs. So he's gonna come back with a 3rd plan, perhaps. He said he just wants to be a good partner, good. He's done some good stuff for us. He's written a letter of support for a grant application for us, so he offered to do that. He didn't have to do that. So he's trying to be a good member of the community. And then I was appointed by the select board at the June 23rd meeting to the Commission on Disabilities for a 3-year term. So, yeah.
Good.
That's happened.
Oh, quality person will be on that, that's great, not the other people.
And the OCPC's Jason Desrossier, as we briefly talked about in the planning office, are working through the housing production plan. It's quarter reporting in the state, and that's about all I got.
Would the project that's going to have access off of Plymouth Street, would they come before the Housing Trust to talk about that?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they would. I mean, it's, they are one of those developers that it's like, it's this little district, and they can do as they please because the state allows them to. In a subtle way, but he's a very friendly guy. He's a very friendly guy, and he wants to be an advocate for the community. But he will be, I will give him your contact info, and I can give you his email too.
And feel free to share
Yeah.
my contact. You know,
He's a good guy. He's a good guy to know.
so this will be a friendly 40B.
So he's friendly, but he's not a friendly 40B.
Oh, so it's not going to be a friendly 40B.
No.
The one in North Quincy?
Oh, that's not, we're talking about Plymouth Street still.
Oh, okay.
Friendly 40B is North Quincy.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
because my understanding is we're over the 10%. So we don't have to do any of them. We don't want to. Thanks to the Summer Street project.
Yeah, the numbers that I've seen from the housing production plan-
but the MBT overlay district is right there.
Right.
Ah,
And they can go right in there.
Right.
And
But then is it a 40B or would it not be a
it would
40B?
not be a 40B.
Right. Okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
So he's saying the 3 stories would be not big enough.
Yeah.
He
to
needs
be
4 stories.
Construction feasible,
Okay.
he would need 4 or 5.
And are we able to say why he's no longer doing the 40B avenue? Is it because the affordability section makes it not profitable?
So construction costs are his main concern, so he's going the MBTA
Right.
route. He's not going 40B, he's not doing what Summer Street did.
Right.
Not going that path.
Right.
Not doing inclusionary zoning, not doing any of all that. He's doing MBT overlay.
Right.
He's using the MBT overlay, and he's building within it, within the confines and within the law of those confines.
Okay.
And
Do-
5 stories is just too dense for that.
Oh, so he
You
wants
can
five,
only
he wants,
do 3 by right.
he wants 5 stories.
Yeah.
Okay. Did we, I forget, did we add the inclusionary zoning in our bylaw? Did we say yet that they have to have an affordability component?
I don't think so.
Okay.
So there might not be any affordable units in this thing.
The question is,
It could be. There could not be.
the question is, does that then push us back under the 10% line again? We're that close to it that if he's building 117,
I
70.
think that's the reason for why they don't allow 5 stories and they only allow a maximum of 3.
Yeah, I want to check the language. I feel like there is some language about the 10% because for this very reason that it's going to push communities further away from 10%. But I think we're so close that if we add 170 units or whatever the number is, that we would go back under 10% and then have to do another 40B to get up over it. So I'm just wondering if in this process, maybe we agree to allow things, but there's an affordability component to make sure we stay above the 10%.
Yeah. Well, the one next to the Gables on North Quincy Street is pitched as a, affordable complex, like 40, 50 apartments and that are going to be affordable, which they're still waiting to proceed on that. Kevin and I went to a site visit, and they have been before the Housing Trust and stuff like that. But do you know what the hang-up with that one is, Kevin?
No, they just got to go to the zoning board now. Your guess is mine.
So we could have 2 more big projects, the one next to the Gables and the one off Plymouth Street behind the senior center.
We could.
Yeah.
He's assessing financial feasibility, which he seemed to think it was low, leaving that second meeting with us. Yeah. So
So it's
And-
beyond Glendale Point, then
it's on Glenville Point's property, but it's not
Yeah.
Glenville Point.
I'm sorry.
Oh, who's looking to build it?
His name is Matt Olson from Intrepid Real Estate Developers.
Okay. But they have a water guarantee from the previous project?
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
I know the one off North Quincy Street, they were talking about going through Brockton for everything,
Oh,
which makes sense because it's on North Quincy Street. I don't know if the Gables, I'm sure the Gables must have gone to Brockton for the water and stuff like that. Given how close the town boundary is on North Quincy Street. It's like right at the breakdown lane, more or less, as it was explained to us. So it'll be interesting. Hopefully they'll come before the Housing Trust, which I chair, and we're having a meeting on Monday, next Monday. And so we've got to keep apprised of these things. Okay. Anybody else have any questions for Tim? Have you all been by the new fire station construction site?
Yep.
Yeah, it's all fenced off. Looks like they'll be tearing down the highway barn pretty soon.
There's a giant excavator sitting there
Yeah. They've got to get the salt shed built, though, the new salt shed, right?
for winter.
Yeah, yeah. 'Cause all the
starting to
trucks
look
are,
like something.
all the trucks are up at North School.
I know it's a town project. Do you know who the town, do we have like a project superintendent or a project owner for
I
that?
think so.
The people who appeared here.
No, is that who they were?
Yeah. One of those folks was the project manager.
I wouldn't mind an update in a couple months, just on what they found, if anything, as they're tearing stuff down.
Is Sean Riley involved in that?
Yep.
Yeah, that's Sean. Sean Riley has been the guy who was here, the land use attorney for them.
Well, maybe we could invite Sean to our September or October meeting to discuss that project? Yeah, I think that would be a good idea, if you could work on that, Kevin. Yeah, that'd be great. And, yeah, because it's, I was away on vacation for a couple of weeks, and I drove around just to check the projects, and I'm like, wow, a lot of projects. So, all right. So,
So that was phased, right? And what there's supposed to be, or the urgency was on phase one, which included the salt shed, right? And they wanted to get that completed. And I thought that was before moving on to the other phases, but
No.
well, it seems like we've given you a lot to do, Kevin. And
Yeah.
of course, we have a lot to do,
Well-
reviewing this big document again, and getting the comments to Kevin and Liz and
Thank you
Anna.
for reviewing it.
Yeah. I learned an awful lot reading this, you know. There's a lot of really good information in this report.
Yeah.
And I know that they've worked very hard on this. So, anybody else have anything to discuss tonight?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion made to adjourn, motion seconded.
Second?
All those in favor?
I
Aye. All right, guys. We'll see you, and thank you, everyone, for watching this meeting. And we have important work to do. So we will get to it, and we'll be adjourned in September.